everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Vahid Doustimajd. I'm in the Sydney right now, and the time is 2:45 p.m. So a little bit about me. I'm the Microsoft certified trainer and the data analyst with more than a 10 years experience in project management and the data analyst area. Currently, I'm working in the Fulton Hogan Tier 1 company, one of the biggest company in New Zealand and Australia as a data and reporting lead. And I'm a technophile person with the passion for the Power BI decks, Power Query, Excel, VBA, and preparing analysis and dashboard. Uh, a little bit about me. I'm not an IT engineer. I'm an industrial engineer. And if you split the Power BI developer to the SQL background or the Excel background, I'm from the second group, from the Excel background. I have a weblog. I'm a blogger. Every month I try to post 1 or 2 posts in the vahidm.com, and I'm a learner, very active learner. I'm an active user in the Power BI community. Every day I read the posts, I read the questions, and try to make a challenge for myself to improve my knowledge. So yeah, if you go to the Power BI community, 100% you can see my picture there, and I'm very happy to active as an active user there. And the other things is I'm admin of the Persian Power BI user group, new user group, and we are about to hold the first session with Reservoir this week in Thursday. So let's move and check the agenda. So why SQLite and Primavera P6? I will explain why I selected this topic. There is a relation between those two. And after that, I will talk about how we can connect Power BI, Primavera P6 and SQLite to Power BI. There is an issue. There is an issue because we don't have the Power BI doesn't have the certified connector. So in this session, we will talk about how we can connect as SQLite database to Power BI. And in that, we need to update some connected drivers to connect those two to each other. And I will try do my best to focus on the demo, to close the presentation, and then go through all the step-by-step items to connect the database to the Power BI, and then I will review the P6 database tables to review some fields, how we can create a sample or a simple report with those information, and I will do my best to wrap up in 40 minutes or less than it to have a Q&A session after that for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. So why SQLite and Primavera P6? Primavera P6 is the main and most professional software for scheduling and planning in the project management industry. If you work in that industry 100%, you work with the Microsoft project or Primavera P6. I'm not sure, there are 10 people in the chat. How many of you work with the P6? If you work with that, just type yes in the chat. Otherwise, I will tell you a little bit more about the P6. Okay, so Primavera P6 has 2 products in version 8, the PPM, which is the Professional Project Management, and the EPPM, which is the Enterprise Project Portfolio Management. And there are many complicated differences between those 2 versions, but in the simple word, the PPM is the local version you can install, or is a Windows base. You can install it on your computer and then connect that to the database. But the EPPM is the web base. You can connect that to the web to the cloud or the Oracle or SQL database. In terms of the database, again, the EPPM, you can connect that to Oracle database or SQL, and connecting that to Power BI is the straightforward because the Power BI has the certified connector to connect to those 2 type of the database. When I said certified connector, if you go to the Power BI desktop, let me just open my Power BI desktop. If you go to the Power BI desktop, then click on the get data, you can see there are some options. All of those options are the certified connector. So you can select the Oracle, you can select the SQL there. So it's easy to connect that, but in terms of the PPM, The one of the PPM version is the standalone, which is the most popular version of the P6 in the world, and that version has the SQLite database. And because of that, I selected this topic to fit two birds with one seed. So connecting the SQLite to Power BI is not that straightforward because there is no certified connector. And if you want to connect that, you need to use other connector and change some and define some other technical things before that. So to review this, P6 has 3 or 4 type of the database. It's an Oracle, it's SQL, or it's a cloud. And at the end, we have the P6 Pro standalone. Okay. So how we want to connect this, connect the SQLite to Power BI. A little bit about the SQL before that. SQLite is a C language library that implements a small, fast, self-contained SQL database engine. SQLite is one of the most used database engine. If you search on the net and search the database ranking, you can find the SQLite in the first top 10 or top 5 database in the world. So SQLite is one of those most used database engine in the world and is widely used in the mobile apps and many other desktop applications that need an internal lightweight free SQL database. But how we want to connect that, we will use the ODBC. The ODBC is the Open Database Connectivity, which is the application program interface, the API. And it is a standard API for accessing database management system or DBMS. So yes, Power BI has the ODBC connector, the certified connector. The only thing we need to do is to update our ODBC drivers, define some DNS, and then connect the P6 to that one. As I told you, we need to update our ODBC driver. We need to make sure SQLite driver is in the driver list of the ODBC. So for that one, we need to run the ODBS data source administrator, go to the drivers tab, and then make sure the SQLite is in there. Right now, if you see on the screen, there is a Microsoft Access, Excel, and SQL Server driver, but SQLite is not in those the list of the drivers. By default, if you search for that one, it's not there. So you need to install, download that and install. For download that, you can go to this website here, as I mentioned in the presentation, download that and install it here. So let me just close the presentation and start the demo one. Okay, so if we want to check this one, we can go here. Before that, let me just run this one. Okay, so here we need to type the ODBC cat 32 and then press OK. And then here we can see sorry. Okay. Here in the ODBC data source, we need to go to the drivers tab, here, and then it doesn't work well today. I don't know why. So let's do it again. Yeah. So here in the drivers tab, you can see that all the drivers. On my computer, I have the Microsoft Access, and the Excel and SQL Server. So SQLite is not there. What I need to do is to download the SQLite driver and install it on my computer. So what I want to do, we'll close this one, open my browser. Here, you can go to this website. I will send it right now in the chat. Oh, here there are many different information, but the most important one here is this one, the current version. So if you want to install the SQLite driver on your for your ODBC, you can select one of these items. For my computer, because it's 64 bits, I will go with this one. I will install this one, download this, and then install it on my computer. So let's do it. Click on this one. So before I install it, before I download it before, it will pop up to this. So let me close this one and then follow the instruction and done. So let's check the drivers again here. So here we can see in the drivers right now, a new driver added to here, which is SQLite 3 ODBC driver. This is the version 3 of the SQLite. If you want to say install the SQL2 as well, when you want to, during the installation, it will ask you, do you want to install the SQLite 2? But I didn't add that one because the SQLite 3 is good for me. Okay, now we have the drivers. We can go ahead and define the DNS here. So in the DNS, we have two types of the DNS here, the user DNS and system DNS. In a simple word, what the difference between those two? The user DNS is, if you add the user DNS, it's just accessible for yourself on your computer or on your machine. But if you define that or add the DNS on the system DNS, then it's accessible for all the user of your workstation or your machine. So in this case, I want to add the user DNS, and a little bit more about that before we go to define the DNS. So here, as you can see, we have 3 DNS, and if we go to the Power BI, oops, yeah, in the get data, we can go and click on more, and then in the list we can find the ODBC. So here, if you click on the other, then we can find the ODBC here. And if you click on this one, so you can find all those DNS names here. So 3 names are same as these 3. And then there is another one, which is the SQLite and the system DNS, and you can find it here. So we want to connect or Power BI, Primavera P6 database to here. So we will go with the add, and then in the list, here, there are some options based on the drivers of your, say, ODBC. So we want to select the SQLite, this one. So click on finish. And then in this window, we will add a name for this one, Primavera DB1 template. And then here we need to select, click on the browse, and then select the SQLite file of your P6. How we can find that one? Let's close this one again. Then open the P6. Here you can see edit database configuration. Click on that one. And then here you can see the database is the Pro standalone, which is the SQLite. And if you click on the next, then here you can find the address. I will copy this and then close this one. And then this one. Here I will add this. Select the SQLite again, add the Primavera DB, and then put the address here, and then OK. So let's say OK here, and if we go to the Power BI here, and then go to the get data more, and then select the other, we can find that ODBC the certified connector there. And then in the list of the DNS, now we can find the Primavera P6, Primavera database, which I added now. So click on this, OK, and then it will be connected to the database, and we show all the tables there. Yeah, so as you can see, it's now connected to the Primavera DB, and there are 132 tables here. But we will go through, I will explain and tell you about the most important tables, how we can create a relationship between those tables, how we can create a sample report. But before that, let's add another database, which is the SQLite. So for that one, I use the SQLite Studio. I want to add the new database, SQLite 3, and then I want to create that here. I want to test. And then 19 of Feb. Okay. And then press OK and select this one, the tables. If you want to create table here, you can set test and then add a column to this one. Example, we can name and then select the string for this one, click OK. And then let's add the data here. So for this one, we can say one item this, and then the second one this. Okay, so now it's okay. Click on this, go back here, and everything is okay. So again, we need to install. We need to define another DNS, and this time I want to go and define the system DNS. So same as the Primavera database. What can I do? What we can do is click on add, and then we can open this one and select the SQLite tree and then name it as a SQLite and then browse a file, select that file, which is this one, and then select OK, and it's OK. And then go back to Power BI. Here, get data again, same connector. Okay, here in others, ODBC, and then click OK. And then here we can find that SQLite Singapore here. And if I click on OK, it will ask me the username, which is this. And then you can find the database. There we added the one table as a test and two items there as a DM and Vahid. So we don't want to use this one. Is there any question before we move to the?
No question.
Okay, all good. So let's move to the presentation again. And then let's have a look to those. Let me just move this one here. Okay, and then this one. Yeah. Okay. So as you can see, as you saw in the previous one, when we connected the P6 to Power BI, we found 132 tables there. So normally it's around 120 table. It's different in between the APPM version and the PPM version, and it can be more and less based on how you want to add the users, how you want to define the code and the other things. But in the normal database, it's around 120 to 130, and there are three important tables. The first one and most important one is the project, which contains all the project details and settings, and it has around 84 fields. All 84 fields, which are the columns of that table. And then the second one is the price WBS, which contains all the elements of WBS. 42 fields are in that table, and then all the information for the WBSS are there. And one tip: the project name will be saved in the project WBS. We will go through that one, and I will explain and show you in the Power BI. But the next and the most, and then the other important things is other important table is the task. The task table contains the set of activities for all projects. If you add the activities to your project, it will be saved on this table with all the dates, the progress, and then all those options of the task. If you define it as a, for example, task depend or resource depend, all this information you can find in this table. So let's go and review more details about those tables. So the most important table is the project table. So in the project table, we have some main field, which is the project ID, and then the project short name, original project ID, and last record. The project ID is not that project ID you use in the P6. Yes, in this table, the project short name is the project ID in the P6, but its project ID is the unique code in the database. which is totally different than the project ID you use in the Primavera P6. I will explain that in the table, in the real connection, the real table. But what we want to do, we need to make a relationship between the project table and the project WBS and the task based on this column, which is the project ID, which is common in all those tables. But what is the important there? We need to make a connection based on what you want to create in your report. Sometimes you need to change the credential or the one-to-one or many-to-many, but it's totally different based on your data model and how you want to create your report. So let's move to Power BI again, and I will connect that to Power BI Primavera. So let me just open my Primavera first. Ooh.
By the time, if anybody has any question, they can put in the chat window.
Okay. Okay, what we want to do here, we want to add some projects here. So I will add one project with name of the project ID of 1001, for example, and the project name of the test one. And then the NR, and then in the activity, we wanna I'm gonna add 3 activities. And so this one, this one, this one. And I want to connect all of them to each other and then run it. Okay, so let me just add another project here. Maybe there's 1002, and then as a test 2 name. So in this one, we will add 4 activities, for instance. A activity, B activity, C activity, D. And then we will add all of them to each other. And then run it again. Okay, so now we have 2 projects with some activities. So in the P6, if I add the project table and then the project WBS and then task, load them to the report. Okay, so it's loaded successfully. So first of all, let's check the relationship between those tables. Here you can see we have a project, we have a task, we have the project and the project WBS and the task. All of them are connected based on the project ID. And I told you this project ID is not same as the project ID we used here. Those are the unique code in the SQL database. Okay, so let's check this one as well. Yeah, project ID and project ID. So all good. So let's go to the people and then add a table here. So what we want to add, the project ID and project name. So the short name, project short name is the project ID in the project table. And then the WBS name, name is the project name here. So I told you the project name is not in the project table. It's in the project in the WBS table, and it's under the WBS name. And you can see that EPS name is here because in the database it considers the EPS as a project. But what we want to do, we can set the filter to just show the project here. So let's go to the project. Let me just show you here. In the project table, we have the one column, which is the project flag. And if it's Y, which is yes, it means that those items are the project. If it's not N, it means that item is the APS. So I'm going to go there and then say for the flag, and then add it in the filter. Let's just show me the Y, which are the projects in the list. So here is okay. Let me just change this name, project ID, and then here to the project name. Okay, so now I want to add another table for the task of those two projects. So first of all, we need to add the task ID, which are the task ID, which is equal to the task ID in the system. So, and show and task. And then we want to add the date of those early start and finish. So let's first add the start and then add the finish here. Okay, and then I can add the physical percent completion. So let's move to the task to see all those items here. So I added the task ID, which is different than the task code, as you can see here and here. The task ID, all the IDs are just used in the SQL database. Is a unique names and a unique ID to create a relationship between the tables, and you can just find them in the database. But if you want to see the task code, task ID in the system, in the P6, for example, for this project, the task ID is 8000 to 81030. We need to use the task code. So I will change this one as well. Go here and then remove this and then add the task code. Okay. Everything good here. So if I select this one, I can see the 3 activities with the start and finish. And then if you click on this one, I can see all those 4 items. So here we have 4 activities. If I change this one to physical and then change this let's say this one is started with the 50% or 40% progress. You need to make sure if you set some change or if you change any information here in the P6, you need to press F5 to refresh data. In that case, you can find, in that case, your database will be updated. So now if I back to the Primavera and update this one, yes, you can see the physical percent completely changed to 40%, and it shows that early as at 21st. But if the actual date is different than the date you set here, for example, let's say it starts on 23rd, and then press 5, and then schedule the project before that, and press 5. If you back to here and update this one, you can see here it still shows the 21st of Feb. Why? Because the actual days are in another table in the task, which is the actual start date. So if I add that one to this table here, if I select this one, add it here, you can see this one, just this one in this project is started with this much progress. Okay, another thing I want to add here is the baseline. If I back here in the, sorry, this one. If I back to the P6 and add another project, for example, if I add a new project with the name of the 1003, and the name of the test, open this one. three activities with A, B, and then C, and connect those to each other on the project. So if I right now we have 3 projects. If I update this one, if I update my report, it will show 4 projects, and one of them is the EPS, as you can see here. So if I refresh that one, you can find we have 3 projects and 1 EPS. But what will happen if I make the A1003 as a baseline of the 1002, 1001? I will open this one, and then in the maintain baseline. Okay, so let me just before that. Okay, so here, back here. To add the maintain baseline. Okay. Actually, because the resolution of my screens are different, I move this tab from here. Now, if I want to add it here, project necessary display move. Can you try this one as well? So, okay, so here, if I want to add this one, yeah. Okay, so unfortunately, I couldn't find that one. Let me just close this one and then open it again. Maybe that's solved the issue. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this minute. Finally, found it. Okay, so now everything okay. So, okay, if I open this one and go and set that one as a baseline of this one, maintain the baseline, and then add it from another project and select that new 1003 as a baseline of this one, you can see that project is disappear from here. And if I press the 5 here, as a refresh data, and go back to the Power BI, and then refresh this one, you can see the 1003 is still here. But what happened? Because in here you can't see that, but here you can see that because all the information are in the database. The only thing changed is the WBI original project ID. As you can see here, 1003 now has the original project ID, which means this project is not the current project, which is the baseline of this ID. So 375 is this project, line 2, which is the 1001. So we made this project as a baseline of this one. So if we go back here, we can see this project here with all the items and this one as well. But if you want to make sure here, you just want to see the current projects, you can go and add the original project ID here and then make sure it just shows the blank one. So yeah, 2 items are here. So if you want to add another table here and just show the baseline, you can just copy and paste this one. And then here, change the Y between the yes and no. So not this one, sorry, this one to this. So we can find that we have one baseline here and we have one two current projects. If you click on this one, you can see all the activities related to that baseline. And if you click on this project, you can find activities related to those projects. Okay, I think I cover everything. So yeah. Okay, if there is any question, please let me know.
No questions so far. If any questions, anybody want to ask any question, maybe they can open up with their mic also, can ask. Or else we will wind up. We have 5 minutes actually.
Okay, so then I just want to say, let's be connected to each other. These are my LinkedIn, Twitter, website, and email address. And if you want to find about the step-by-step information to connect the Power BI with SQL and Primavera, there is a blog post on my website. You can go there, find this image, and then you can read all the steps and all the information there.